Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So I thought today I would do my long video for January 2022 on Jupiter going into Aries. And the reason I chose that was because although right now we've got Jupiter in Pisces, once we come to around the 10th of May 2022, we actually have Jupiter going into Aries for a few months before it retrogrades back into Pisces and then finishes off 2022 in the latter parts of Jupiter being in Pisces. And then of course 2023, all the first half of 2023, we're going to have Jupiter in Aries. So this is more prominent for that time period as opposed to just the very early degrees of Aries in 2022. But I just thought it might help you process some of the things that you may be going through between basically 2022, 2023, and then manifesting in 2024, 2023 time period. And I'll cover why that is in a minute. So when we look at this whole thing that we're going through right now with Jupiter in Pisces, and I did a video on this already, including all the sun signs and ascendants. I'll put the link below. What we're doing now in this first half of 2022 is not only recognizing the dreams, acknowledging our wishes, acknowledging our dreams and what we want, maybe even producing some miracles in our lives. We're now just doing that. That's what this first half of 2022 and some parts of the latter half of 2022 is. Then we go on into the Jupiter into Aries. And the reason I say that it's progressing this way is because Jupiter, as an actual influence and energy, is really supposed to be where we're growing, right? So we're starting off with growing in our dreams, growing in our hopes and wishes, maybe growing in miracles. And then we go into Aries, where we're asked to grow in dependence on ourselves, not on others. Now we know that Aries is ruled by Mars. So this also says that we want to put energy into those dreams, hopes, and wishes that we had in the early part of 2022. So I really see this Jupiter in Aries as not a time when we're going to manifest and build the structures around everything new in our lives. Although some of that may happen, most of this Jupiter in Aries is going to be about taking action for sure, but taking action in the right direction. Putting things in place in terms of like planning of where we need to go, deciding what fork in the road we're going to take. That type of thinking and activity really goes with this Jupiter in Aries. So as I mentioned, Jupiter, wherever it is, whether it's by transit, and that's what I'm talking about, or by placement, say in your natal chart, it tells us where we need to grow. It gives us good luck and expansion, and definitely brings benefits our way. Jupiter is viewed as the greater benefit, and then Venus is the lesser benefit. So at a sort of mundane level, Jupiter in Aries can produce individuals who feel they're preordained to carry out a mission for the world, and they're focused on that. So we may have an emergence of those type of people, not that those type of people aren't there already. Aries is a Cardinal Fire sign, and it's represented by the glyph of the ram. It represents new initiatives, and therefore it asks us to take action. But it also has this other side of impulsiveness, even aggression, assertion. I want to do it my way's the right way. But it's certainly at its best asks us to move forward with our independent selves and not ask us to rely on other people. That we need to do our own thinking, right? If you think about it, this sign of Aries does rule the head, right? It rules also the blood coursing through our veins up into our head. And then obviously, by association, it's associated with headstrong behavior. It can be self-assertive, mostly disregarding others. And metaphysically, as I mentioned earlier, the glyph and I'll put the glyph up here for you, although it represents the ram, it is also like a fork in the road. So you can view this time period of Jupiter in Aries, mainly the first half of 2023, as a fork in the road to decide, where is it that I want to go? Things will become more clear as we come out of that Neptune, Pisces, dreamy, sometimes foggy, sometimes confusing type of situation, early 2022. That Aries glyph also represents the nose and the raising of the eyebrows. And so if we look what's behind that, we know it's the forebrain, where executive functioning takes place. It's where we intelligently figure things out, and it's the higher mind. So when we look at the high point of Aries, the spiritually evolved Arian has the higher mind determining his choice. Beginning with ideas and then processed through the higher mind, he then forges ahead and gets on that path on his own. Mars is associated with Aries, and it is associated with the survival instinct. It can indicate brashness and assertiveness. Now, the ancient ruler of Scorpio was Mars too. So you could say that Mars co-rules Scorpio too. So in some ways, Scorpio will be brought into this mix as well as an important sign. I'll cover that later. And in fact, I'll cover all the signs as well as the ascendants, depending which one you want to pick. The last part of this video, there's going to be timestamps down below if you just want to go straight to. Once I finish this intro, I'm actually going to give you specific dates and years and give you an idea of what sort of things may be happening around that time period. So when we start off with the 10th of May, 2022 at 5:59 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, this is when we have Jupiter ingressing or going into Aries. But it's going to go retrograde on the 28th of July at 8 degrees of Aries. On the 28th of October, we'll have Jupiter retrograde, now back in Pisces at 29 degrees of Pisces. And it'll go back to about 28 degrees too. And so folks that either have an ascendant or a sun or conglomeration of planets around the 28, 29 degree mark, know that you're going to get hit twice with this. So we can have something at the beginning, first half of the year for those actual degrees, 28, 29 degrees, and then the latter part of 2022. So that for you folks, it'll be a process, especially say it's your ascendant or sun. Something may pop up at the beginning, first half of the year, and then somehow over the summer, something goes awry and there's confusion perhaps. Then it pops up again towards the end of 2022 and manifests in something, probably something where a clearer road opens up for you or a clearer opportunity. On the 20th of December at 6:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Jupiter will officially go into Aries for a number of months. And so this marks the time period that I'm going to be talking about next with regards to each of the sun signs or ascendants. On the 29th of May, we're going to have Mars is going to be conjuncting Jupiter at 3 degrees. So this is still in 2022. So if you've got something, say, around the 3 degree mark of Aries, or I would say also in the opposite sign, 3 degrees of Libra, there's going to be some initiatory action taken here. Now, Mars on its own can represent a male coming into your life, a lucky male when it's conjunct for those Aries folks, but it can also represent a new beginning. So if you've either got an ascendant or your sun, say around this 3 degree mark, you can mark really end of May, early June 2022 as some kind of real push forward with regards to getting on with something in your life that maybe you've been delayed and not able to do. And this is especially apropos for Aries, of course. Yeah. So on the 3rd of March, now we're jumping ahead into the next year, 3rd of March 2023, we're going to have Venus conjuncting Jupiter. And that's going to be at 2 degrees of Aries. So this kind of meshes in very closely with the previous event that I talked about at the 29th of May 2022, when Mars conjuncted Jupiter. This now says, especially for those Aries folks that have a sun or ascendant around this 2 to 3 degree mark of Aries, you're going to probably start to manifest, well, one of three things. Venus conjunct Jupiter on its own generally will say money coming your way, but it can also be love, lucky in love. And then at its base, of course, Venus always represents our values. And with Jupiter combined here, it could be that you are more valued, just generally speaking. But it really has to be around that 2 to 3 degree mark of Aries to have a real influence here. Otherwise, this kind of goes by without a whole lot of energy associated with it. But at that same time, significantly, we have Saturn and Pluto at the anaretic degree. That's 29 degrees of Aquarius and Capricorn respectively. So this says around the 3rd of March 2023, when we take it to sort of a more global, mundane level, that this is an important turning point for all of us in the world. This 29 degree mark marks kind of the end of things with regards to Saturn and Pluto. Now, they're both important planets, but the most important in terms of real energy change, of course, is going to be Pluto. Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008. So it's significant to say that it will be going into now Aquarius. Now, it'll dip back into Capricorn again and then another time prior to it 100% getting into Aquarius. Perhaps the age of Aquarius will begin at that time. There's a lot of arguments around that. But it certainly is a signal of things ending. Now, if we go back to this whole Venus conjunct Jupiter and we take it to a mundane global level, this could be the signal of major change in the money markets. So I think we're going to see changes in the money markets all through 2022 and 2023. But in terms of like significant signposts, we're looking here at March 2023 as some major change. Because we've got Saturn, ruler of all the structures in our life, and Pluto, big time power ruler, this is a change of power. When we look a little bit further on in March 2023, specifically the 13th of March 2023, we have lucky Jupiter conjuncting Chiron, which is in Aries. And I know that seems a long time away, especially if you're listening to this in January 2022. But I see this potentially being the real ending of the whole crisis that we've had with our healthcare situation and Omicron and COVID, all those. We're really looking at March 2023 of some major lucky change here with regards to all things with that. That's what I read that as. When we look at the 21st of March 2023, we have the north nodes of the moon, so these are the transiting north nodes of the moon, enter into 0 degrees of Aries in 50 minutes. So again, we've got a big change happening in March 2023 to have the nodes shifting in here. So specifically Aries, you should make note of this time, March 2023, because at some point, these transiting north nodes will at the very least conjunct your sun. For some others, this will be your nodal return, where you've got your north nodes actually in Aries. But there could be other planets as well, but those are the more significant ones. So I would say Aries as an actual sign, or if it's your ascendant, there's a number of things that are going to be coming up for you that are going to be significant starting in 2022, leading you to a whole new destiny. I'm going to cover all the sun signs and ascendants in a minute, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget that. When we look at the 20th of April, 2023, there's a significant new moon eclipse. It's at 29 degrees of Aries. So again, we talk about that anaretic degree, which is summing up the energy. So the 29 degree point in Aries is going to be summing up that new initiative energy. So again, mark this time period, the 20th of March, 2023 was the kind of cutoff point. So the cutoff point for what? For all the planning and the initiatory type of energy and actions that you need to take to lead to your manifesting, which will happen more when we've got Jupiter entering into Taurus. So this is going to be, a new beginning for all Aries, going back to the whole sign of Aries. For Libra, which is the opposite sign, it can also be new beginnings, but this usually represents the partner. So it could be that a number of things happens for Libra 2022, 2023 with regards to a partner. And it doesn't mean it's got to be bad. Eclipses usually mean big effects. And when you've got it at the 29 degrees, it usually means a summing up of things. It's a new moon eclipse, but then it also says it's a new start. Okay, so for both Libra and Aries, I would say this is an ending and a beginning. With Libra, it's going to be to do with your partner. And with Aries, it's going to be to do with you and the things around you. All right, that's just my intro on, there's a lot of other things that are happening during the time period of Jupiter in Aries, and I'm going to cover those on a monthly basis. I'm really just trying to focus on the effects of Jupiter here and things happening with Jupiter in Aries that I think would be significant in terms of influencing the whole Jupiter in Aries effect. I'm just going to cover a couple more dates here for you. On the 16th of May 2023, Jupiter will ingress or go into Taurus. So this is a time period where we can start building and manifesting the Pisces dream, right, that we had when we have Jupiter in Pisces, and the actions that we took when we had Jupiter in Aries throughout the first half of 2023. Now we get the time to start manifesting and actually building that dream. All right? So it's the Jupiter in Pisces, the Jupiter in Aries. Now we end with the Jupiter here in Taurus, May 2023. So we can look basically at the latter half of 2023 as the type of activities we should be doing that will be favorable to the energies in the universe is to build, literally to build, and to manifest. I'll cover Jupiter in Taurus probably next year, but I just wanted to kind of give you a whole picture so you understand the energies and how you can harness them in your own life. On the 17th of July 2023, we're going to have the transiting north nodes will then go into Aries. So that'll be in conjunction. So this again is that initiatory energy where we can move forward, do our own thing, be independent. You'll have the energies, the destiny energies on your side. And again, Aries here is going to be highlighted with regards to potentially that year, the latter half of that year, manifesting more things. And Libra, the opposite sign, but with involvement of their partner. All right, so because this is a Jupiter in Aries, I'm going to start off with Aries. So for Aries, this is obviously your first house. And the other thing that you've got here, of course, is Chiron. So Chiron is the wounded healer. It's where we need to heal. And as we heal, it's where we can heal others. So really this influence of Chiron in your first house, along with Jupiter, is to really give you some beneficial energy to heal. So take advantage of the fact that there may be advisors, good friends, or maybe your own initiative that can bring in real healing into your life. If we think about Chiron and its transit, Chiron takes 50 years. So this is you'll only have this really happening once in your lifetime. So Aries, take advantage of the healing potential in your life by leveraging anyone or anything that can help you truly heal. And because the head is very much associated with you, Aries, this could literally be head healing, or healing of how we process things and how we see things as we process them. There could be some real healing for you and beneficial energy. Now, if we stick to 2022, the latter part, where we do have influence of Jupiter and Aries, we also have a Mars retrograde that's happening as well in 2022, as well as a Mercury retrograde. But if we look at the Mars retrograde, which is the ruler of your sign, so it's important for you, Aries, it will go direct at 8 degrees on the 11th of January 2023, and that's going to be in your third house. So if we look at this whole Mars in Gemini, going retrograde and then direct, we're looking at the third house of communication, where for whatever reason, you're going to have to go back and review communications. Now, it can also be to do with your neighborhood, something that you have to tidy up in your neighborhood, or you get involved in planning things in your neighborhood for whatever reason. But it can also be sales and commerce. So it could be during this Mars retrograde from the latter part of 2022 into the first part of January 2023, Aries, that you're involved in some kind of negotiations that are important for you. Yeah. All right, so we go on to Taurus. Taurus, this is your 12th house. So the 12th house is a mixed bag. It's ruled by Neptune and the sign Pisces. It is the house of rest. So just at its base, we could say that maybe Taurus, you actually need to take a rest during this time period, mostly in the first half of 2023. But you also are entertaining this electric, surprise a minute, unexpected energy of Uranus in your sign. And depending what you have in Taurus, whether it's your ascendant or sun, it depends where you are. For 2022, we're really looking at Uranus probably staying around the 14, 15 degree mark of Taurus in terms of real influence on your sun or your ascendant. But the other thing is, of course, we have the transiting north nodes that are now, as I speak, almost into Taurus. So we've got that influence on all Taurians as well. And of course, we're talking about destiny paths here. I would have to look at your individual chart to see how this transiting north node in Taurus, which starts kind of mid-January 2022, is going to affect you, Taurus. I can only give you sort of general stuff here. But for sure, Taurus, you've got eclipses happening all throughout 2022 and actually into 2023. And for Taurus, this will be affecting you personally when the actual eclipse is going to be in Taurus. But it's also going to be, you've got some significant total eclipses happening in your opposite sign of Scorpio. So this then talks about the partner. It talks about any of the others, right? So you're going to have an influence in your own life directly, but you've also got the influence of probably letting go of some aspects with regards to partnerships. Now, the partnership can be a marriage partnership. Typically, people think that, but it's also business partnerships. It's also clients. So if you are in the business of dealing with clients, Taurus, you could have some big changes happening there, and those don't have to be negative. But the whole axis of Taurus and Scorpio is to do with money. Whether it's other people's money, and mostly that's what we're talking about here, investing money, the money that you make, your value system. It also talks about real estate too. Yeah. So all those things could be up for some kind of review for you with this whole Jupiter in Aries. Now, the other thing is with Jupiter being here in your 12th house is you could literally be receiving some kind of enlightenment, where the light bulb goes on and you realize where you need to go next. You realize where you need to grow. Now, if you remember, I mentioned earlier that Jupiter will be going into Taurus in May 2023. So in many respects, Taurus, this is a preparatory period for you in the first part of 2023, where you're really being asked to probably review the deeper parts of yourself, and this would probably be the psychological side of yourself. It also helps you root out people that maybe aren't on your side. Now, I'm not going to say that's for everybody, but the 12th house is the house of hidden enemies. And so if there are anything or is anything there like that, this Jupiter is going to shine a big light on it. So your job is just to pay attention to that and root out those things. But like I said, this is a preparatory period. Get lots of rest in the first half of 2023. Prior to Jupiter going then into your sign, and at some point either conjuncting your ascendant or conjuncting your sun. And I'll be going into more detail about this, every month as we progress through this. So you can always put questions down here in the text boxes and I'll answer them for you. All right, let's go on to Gemini. So Gemini, this is in your 11th house. Typically, we talk about your friends, the groups you belong to. It's also your hopes and wishes. And for those folks that have their own business, this is where you make money. It can also be like kind of the wider world in many respects. So this is going to be in conjunction with your Mercury retrograde that's going to be in May. And then you've got the Mars retrograde in October that doesn't go direct until January 2023. So Gemini, I would say there's going to be a lot of communications with regards to your friends and the groups you belong to. And these are going to be important for you with regards to planning parts of your life, because you've got the Mercury retrograde and the Mars retrograde. Mars represents energy. And with the retrograde part of it, generally speaking, it says energy that's put inward. But I always look at, especially if it's affecting your sign directly, and Gemini it is, this is you, Gemini, probably doing a lot more planning of what's the future ahead for me here? Where should I be going? Where should I be putting my energy? And maybe with the Mercury retrograde, you may even decide a different way of presenting yourself, right? And you plan for that through the latter part of 2023. But this is all about communications. And there's going to be a lot of toing and froing with regards to your friends, with regards to your groups. So this says lots of socializing for you, certainly the latter part of 2022 and then into the first part of 2023. So enjoy that, Gemini. When we look at Cancer, Cancer is your 10th house of career. And as I'm speaking here right now, I'm looking forward to the full moon on the 17th of Jan 2022. That's going to be in Cancer. And so I think that moon, that full moon Cancer, whether it's happened when you watch this video or it's going to happen, I would say that was a significant full moon for you. It's right at the beginning of the year on the 17th of January 2022, and it's influencing your career. And so this says to me there's going to be some kind of ending or culmination with regards to your career and a push forward with regards to something new happening in your life. Now, the thing about Aries with regards to your sign, Cancer, is that Aries squares your sign. It also squares Capricorn. So this isn't a bad thing. It just means that in this time period of Jupiter being in Aries, you're going to be asked to solve some challenges. Everything may not be straightforward, but sometimes that's a good thing because you ferret out things that could trip you up later on. And that's how you need to look at squares, not that it's actually negative. And generally speaking, almost anything Jupiter does is for your benefit. So this is a typical example would be something doesn't turn out and you get really upset about it. Maybe some new initiative to maybe nurture yourself or take care of yourself falls through. And what happens though is later on, you realize that, oh, thank goodness that actually fell through because it would have been a disaster for me. So look at that influence of Jupiter in Aries squaring your sign from that standpoint. It's there to actually help you or put sort of like a cushion underneath to catch you. That's how I see this intuitively. Now, when we look at the last degrees here of Pluto in Capricorn, it's those folks that have the latter degrees of Cancer, whether it's your ascendant or your sun sign. So the degrees we're looking at here are more like 27, 28, 29 degrees of Cancer. You're still going to have that opposition with Pluto in Capricorn. And in fact, it will still be going on into 2024 to some point or degree. So these could just be more challenges for you with regards to this opposition now. And the challenges could be with people in power or people you perceive to be in power. And again, I think this opposition is really about you gaining your power and recognizing your power. So when we look at an opposition, it's you looking at it, right? So perhaps for some Cancers, you need to look at the fact that you're not taking your power and pulling it in. You're giving your power away. Now, there is a cautionary note here. Do take care with anything to do with the law. And this was not the time to step outside the law and take the law into your hands. And in particular, I'm talking about those folks that have 27 to 28, 29 degrees of Cancer. those folks in particular. Okay, good luck, Cancer. All right, Leo. Well, Leo, hey, you've got a trine happening with Aries. So Aries is a fire sign and you're a fire sign. So this is positive energy just being beamed your way. And you've got the 9th house activated here. So the 9th house is really about travel in terms of a fun side of it. It's also about foreign people, foreign things may become more into focus for you for some reason. Some folks may actually decide to get higher learning, but if we stick with the word higher, we're also talking about bringing yourself up to a higher level of consciousness. It's also the house where we ask, what is my purpose in life? So these may be topics that you are going through in your mind of what is the purpose here of my life, or travel. All of us have been restricted in our travel, but perhaps Leo, you will decide to go on some major travel trip during this time period. You've got a full moon coming up in 2022 in February, which really also signals big things ending in your life, big doors closing for you in order to open up new ones. We've got your whole opening up with the whole Jupiter trining your sign. So I would say stay open to foreign people and foreign things, bringing in some very beneficial energy for you, perhaps even setting you on a new path where you become more of who you are. You know, at its core, Leo is to become its real self. It's self it's meant to be. Who am I really? Am I pretending to be something I'm not? Well, this could be a time period where the beneficial energy of Jupiter in Aries makes you feel that you can express your authentic self. And it could be a time of great creativity too. Yeah, especially when it comes from a standpoint of your specific, it's your own, you own it. It's not someone else's ideas, it's your ideas. Good luck, Leo. For Virgo, it's your 8th house. So when we look at the 8th house, it really is a house of shared resources. So it's where we save for our 401k. It's where we invest in the stock market. It's where we have a savings account. It's where we share money with other people. But it's also our psychological side of ourselves too. And it's also a great healing house too. And so I would say with the Jupiter in Aries in your 8th house, there are some great opportunities for you to heal psychologically. Certainly this would be a great time for you to go through any psychological counseling. And I would say psychological counseling from the standpoint of something maybe brand new. Aries is about taking a new road, a pioneering road. That may be of a lot of benefit to you. But at the very least, you could take some real initiatory energy with regards to really putting investments in place. And you might be very lucky, in fact, in investments. Now, typically when we have Jupiter in the 8th house, this represents inheritances. So Virgo, you could have some inheritance come in here as well. Now, Jupiter going around the universe is a 12-year cycle, so not every 12 years you're going to have an inheritance. But for some folks, you will have this. And it can mean just money coming your way. And this could be via a loan too. So for some Virgos, maybe you'll apply for a loan in the first half of 2023 and actually get it, qualify for it. You still have, certainly in the latter degrees, we still have Neptune opposing your sign, Virgo. So this will still cause some kind of confusion in your life, especially with regards to partners. Or you may have partners confusing you or setting up a smoke and mirrors type situation for you. And so really it's not going to be till Neptune leaves your sign and moves forward. So we'll just have to wait for that. That's more going to be into probably 2023, 2024, where you start seeing the dissipating energies of that confusion and smoke and mirrors. You're able to wave bye-bye to it And there's a more clear thinking with regards to any kind of partnerships, or if it's clients, any clearing up of client confusion as well. All right, let's move on to Libra. So Libra, it's your 7th house. So here you have good luck energy happening with regards to partnerships. That's all partnerships. This can be a lucky time for getting married. It can be business partnerships, and it can be a lucky time to bring in more clients for yourself too. Certainly if you're dealing with anything with the law, you will be very lucky. And Jupiter can represent a lawyer. It can represent an advisor. So if for some reason the first half of 2023, Libra, you're involved with some kind of court dealings, expect it to turn out in your favor, and certainly look to find the best lawyer because they're going to be on your side. And in fact, the law, represented by Jupiter, may be on your side too. So don't get discouraged if you are going through some difficult times legally. And that's just going to be applying to some Libras. Now, when we look at in terms of placement in the zodiac, we have, of course, Aries is opposite your sign. So this will have you looking at the partner for the first half of 2023. For whatever reason, your partner may be bringing in some extra money for you, or just start earning money, or winning money, or getting their own inheritance and sharing it with you. But it's the partner here that has, I guess, the beneficial energy to give you, as opposed to it happening to you directly. Now, you do have a new moon on the 14th of October 2023, and this is an eclipse. It's at 21 degrees of Libra. And Mercury will also be in Libra at that time. So if you've got anything around the 21 degree mark of either Aries or Libra, so say you've got a Libra ascendant at 21 degrees, you can expect this eclipse on the 14th of October 2023, which is a new moon, to really have a big effect on your life. But if it's your sun, it will also leverage you out of something and put you into something new. I would say it may come through a lucky communication, because we've got the association here also with Mercury in Libra as well. Good luck, Libra. All right, Scorpio. It is in your 6th house. So the 6th house, generally speaking, refers to our day-to-day habits. And in most cases, it'll be our day-to-day job. But it's also the house of health, and that's whether it's diet or exercise. You, of course, have the south nodes of the moon, the transiting south nodes of the moon, in your sign starting mid-January for about 1.5 years. So you've got a layer of that on top. And with the south nodes, generally speaking, we're talking about letting go of things, right? Or at least incorporating things with a new path where we aim up to the north nodes in Taurus. So this could be a particularly interesting year for Scorpios. It's 2022, 2023 year, especially 2023. Because you're going to have this influence of the transiting south node saying, let go. And it could be many things that you need to let go of. Maybe things that have been hanging around your whole life that you're just given the opportunities by people, places, things, or events that just make it easier to let go. And it could be something as simple as bad habits, right? So you're going to be entertaining eclipses in 2022 and 2023. You've got 2 total eclipses happening in your sign in 2022. So this is a big change year here for you, Scorpio. I would say, make sure you get lots of rest, and your intuition is always going to be high. So do listen to your intuition this year as well, Scorpio, because you may be given the heads up on things before they actually happen. Now Mars, which rules Aries, and we're talking about Jupiter in Mars, in Mars's sign of Aries, co-rules. It's an ancient ruler of your sign too. So this kind of adds an extra benefit with the whole Jupiter in Aries, because it's ruled by Mars, and Mars co-rules your sign. you may get some extra benefits happening here at the 12th hour that really benefit you with regards to maybe some difficult situations that you're in. And in fact, when that whole Mars conjunct Jupiter happens, and that is going to be at 3 degrees on the 29th of May, 2022, you may find that conjunction a benefit for you, especially if you have anything around either the 3-degree mark of Aries or the 3-degree mark of your own sign. Good luck, Scorpio. Oh, one more thing, Scorpio. You have Uranus opposite your sign. So look to anything significant in Scorpio. Obviously, it'll either be your sun or ascendant. But take a look at what's in your chart in Scorpio, because Uranus is around, right now in January, it's around 10 degrees. And it'll go up to no more than 16 degrees of Taurus opposite your sign. But it's important to take a look at what planets you've got, and if there is an opposition happening between 2022, 2023, just again to give yourself a heads up that something unexpected may happen. Like I said, Uranus is only there to help you get stuff out of your life that you just have been dragging your feet on, or that you've just not been given the opportunity. Uranus brings the opportunity, but sometimes if you're not on it, it can bring the opportunity through other people or events where something is jettisoned out of your life, and you feel maybe a little bit surprised by it. So take a look in advance of that opposition of Uranus, of anything in your Scorpio house, which will be your first house, and try to maybe predict some things that may happen. Like for instance, if you've got Mars at 10, 11 degrees of Scorpio, we know that you're going to have an opposition of Uranus the beginning of the year 2022. So you want to take care of that and say that there could be unexpected action coming towards you. And maybe just check out some stuff with regards to, are you being too aggressive or assertive in something and not recognizing it? Or is someone else doing that to you? Always important to recognize things and then to decide what action, what intelligent action you can take. Just an example for you, Scorpio. All right, let's move on to Sagittarius. Well, Sagittarius, this is in your 5th house. And the 5th house rules a lot of things. Generally speaking, it can represent a new love coming into our life. But really, it's expressing our authentic self. And typically, we associate that with creativity. So if you were involved in any creative projects, especially the first half of 2023, you may just blossom in that area. Love may blossom for you. You expressing your authentic self can also happen too. Now, because Leo is associated with this, and Leo can be a little bit obnoxious at times, I would just caution you, Sagittarius, not to feel too full of yourself and express a little too much of your authentic self to others where people get offended. But generally speaking, this is a lovely influence for you. And you could see some true creative projects coming out of this particular influence with Jupiter in Aries. And of course, you are a fire sign too. So Jupiter in Aries trines your sign very nicely and just sends beautiful energy your way. Now, it's also the house of children. So certainly if there's some Sagittarians that want to get pregnant, or if they're having issues with children, this trine influence from Jupiter in Aries can really give you some lovely new initiatory energy with regards to your children. But it can certainly mean a conception. So if you don't want to get pregnant, Sagittarius, take precautions. All right. When we look at Capricorn, it's in your 4th house of home. It's your mother. It's your habits. It's our homeland. And so here we see that there'll be some kind of benefit happening for you. Perhaps you will buy your first home. Maybe you'll sell your home. All those things can be associated with the 4th house too. Your mother just may be very lucky for you. Maybe she's going to bring you some money of some sort. That's a possibility. But certainly anything to do with buying a home is going to be very beneficial for you. If you do want to buy a home, I would say the first half of 2023 is an excellent time to do that. Now, Jupiter likes to grow things and expand things. So it could be that you decide you want to remodel your home or puts extensions on your home. Another good time, the first half of 2023, to do that. You're going to have great initiatory energy from the universe to feed into that if you're wanting to do that. Now, I mentioned earlier that Aries squares Cancer and that it also squares your sign, Capricorn. So it could be that there might be a few roadblocks or spanner in the works that happen here for you with regards to this maybe new home or your mother coming into your home. There just may be things that you've got to sort out. The square just asks you to stop and think things through. There's a little bit of a problem here, or I've got to integrate another thing in this situation. And perhaps there is something in your home. Maybe you've got to, your contractor hasn't applied for whatever permissions he needs. So again, if you are doing something to your home, make sure you do your due diligence here too. With the square, it says you're going to have to handle something. But you can avoid that square by doing your due diligence to begin with. So just check off all the boxes with regards to anything regarding buying a home, selling a home, or expanding a home. Now, you are still entertaining Pluto in your sign, of course, but it's really just for those final degrees. So for those folks that have anything, say, between 27 and 29 degrees of Capricorn, you're still going to be undergoing some kind of transformation. And when it comes to Pluto transforming you, you absolutely have to let it happen. The more you fight transformation and, let's face it, potential moving forward with your life, the more difficult it will be. So I'm really speaking here to those born at the latter part of the sign of Capricorn, or those who have ascendants from 27 to 29 degrees. It can be a beautiful process, and I remind you that Pluto, if we want to look at a process in nature, is really the caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Not an easy process and a miracle in itself, but that's the process you're undergoing for those in the latter degrees of Capricorn. Allow it to happen. You too should be getting lots of rest and taking care of yourself if you're in that category. Otherwise, just enjoy this lovely influence of beneficial energy in the house of home. Yeah, and just to give you hope for those folks that have this Pluto in the latter part of the degrees of Capricorn, it'll be on the 16th of May, 2023, that Pluto finally goes into Aquarius. Now, it will dip back into Capricorn a little bit on and off, but generally speaking, we can look at May 2023 for Capricorn, that Pluto is out of your sign. And then, of course, Aquarius, you have that to look forward to in the second half of 2023. So let's move on to Aquarius. Aquarius, it's your third house. Third house is all about communications. It's your neighborhood, your neighbors, it's your siblings, it's commerce and sales. So it encompasses quite a few things. But overarching all this is communication. So because Jupiter grows things, I would say there's going to be a lot more people communicating with you. And maybe a lot more people communicating with you, asking you to take some action. So you may be front and center, not only in terms of getting lots of communications, but that you're required to take action as a result of that. Why? Because Mars, planet of action, rules Aries, and you've got that in your third house. So I would say at the very least, that's the type of energy and activity you can see happening. You're going to be very busy with communicating. And it could be Aquarius, because you have Uranus ruling your sign, it could be communicating on the internet, on YouTube, on your own website, that type of thing. In fact, this would be a great time, the first half of 2023, to put your website together and to get that all working properly and communicating properly with the world, right? We're going to have Saturn going into Pisces in March 2023. So really it's taking our dreams that we had, right, in Pisces, when we had Jupiter in Pisces, and making them real. So that's something you can look forward to too, Aquarius, is with your ruler, which is at this point in time Uranus. But we're talking about here your ancient ruler, which is Saturn, in March 2023, going into Pisces. And so it's making the dreams come true for you. So I'm suspecting that anything that's with regards to communications, that first half of 2023, or setting up your own website, YouTube, that sort of thing, just go for it, Aquarius. Just go for it. You're going to have good people there. Jupiter represents good advisors, good teachers. They're going to be there rooting for you and helping you and assisting you. Good luck, Aquarius. So we're going to finish up here with the final sign in the zodiac, and of course that's you, Pisces. For Pisces, it is in your second house. So the second house is where we have the money that we earn. So you could have some very beneficial new initiatory energy with regards to that. Maybe you'll take on a new job, or maybe you're given it just a whole new source of income from your present job. It can also speak to values. So it could be that for whatever reason, you shift your value system in yourself. It could be you deciding to start acquiring, right? Jupiter's all about expanding. You could start acquiring more possessions at this time, perhaps through Jupiter increasing your income coming in. You're able to purchase more things and possessions and bring those into your life. And this is a lucky, beneficial influence for you. It can represent love to some extent as well. I mean, this is the house of Taurus, and Taurus is ruled by Venus. So you could have some lucky thing happening in love. It's new initiatory energy, as we're talking about Aries here. And with Mars representing males, it could be some male is important in your life with regards to love, with regards to earning money, and with regards to maybe increasing your possessions. So going back to how I spoke to Aquarius, Jupiter promoted your dreams, right, in 2022. Now in 2023, there's initiative to move forward with those dreams. But like I said earlier in my video, we need to wait till Jupiter goes into Taurus to get the manifestation or the building approval, right? We can have some scaffolding there, but the building approval and the confusion that's cleared up, that sort of thing, is all going to come through for you. With this whole Neptune going out of your sign eventually in the next few years, what's going to be left here for you if you've been doing your due diligence and taking advantage of different astrological energies to move forward and plan. When Neptune moves out of your sign, Pisces, it's going to be like the fog lifting as that bright sun burns off all the fog around you, and all you're left with is this brilliant sun in the blue sky. So the next few years, just know that that's what you're doing. You're building your dreams. You're going to manifest those dreams or those structures, and then that sun is going to be shining brightly in that blue sky for you. So don't give up. Keep going. Be inspired by the things that come into your life, because Neptune also brings that. We've got for you, Pisces, that whole Jupiter conjunct Neptune in April 2022. April should be a month for all Pisces to really look at trying to, in some form, either manifest the dream, recognize the dream, and accept that it's okay to have dreams and be inspired. All right, good luck, Pisces. And oh yeah, let's just not forget that Jupiter, of course, is your ancient ruler, Pisces. So you too will have a positive influence operating in the background at any time, really, with Jupiter. Jupiter's always there trying to catch and help you because it's your ancient co-ruler. All right, take care of yourself. All right, everybody, I'm going to wrap that up as it is. The next video I'm going to be putting forward is going to be February 2022, so I'm looking forward to that. Maybe I'll put something new in there I've got a colleague that I'd like to work with and bring in some new ideas for you. So let's see if I can manifest that and make that dream come true. Leave me any of your comments or suggestions. I love hearing from everybody. If you want your chart done, of course, you know where I am. Certainly reach out to me and email me, and then you can go to my services tab on my website, Help Us Astrology, but all that is below here, so you don't even have to think about it. Please take care of yourself. I'm sending you lots of love and lots of positive energy with regards to this Jupiter in Pisces giving us this whole idea that I can do it, right? That's what Aries is all about, is I can do it. I can pioneer this new path. I can do this independently. I don't need other people to do it. I just need to be careful with other people around me, of course, to be respectful. But there's nothing wrong with me doing my own thing on my own path. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.